Okay, thank you. Right. So I saw this post na alam nyo, simple lang naman solusyon para umangat ang Pilipinas eh. And there's more. Thank you, by the way. Okay. So alam nyo, simple lang naman ang solusyon para umangat ang Pilipinas. If that was the case, then right. Sorry, marami akong in-invite to like my page. So, right, okay. So, kung ganun lang talagang kasimple paunlarin ng Pilipinas, then it would have been done a long time ago. Oh my goodness. Okay. But it's actually not. So, it's a bit more complicated than itong mga linista nitong okay. Nitong social media user na to. So, isa-isahin natin and I'll try to steel man the argument. Right. And at the same time, magbibigay din ako ng counter-argument and then counter-argument sa counter-argument ko. Okay, so tumatahol yung aso ng kapitbahay namin. Very nice. Okay, tapos na. Tapos na ba? Hindi pa rin. Okay. So, una, tanggalin yung provincial rate para hindi na pumupunta sa Manila yung mga taga-probinsya. Now, I understand yung argument na dito kasi one of the main problems ng Metro Manila lang muna, is it's really congested, napakataas ng population density ng Metro Manila. So, for sure, makakatulong kung madi-decongest natin ang Metro Manila. If we could encourage people to stay in the provinces or even go to the provinces if people in Manila would move out of Metro Manila and then pupunta sila sa iba't ibang regions sa Pilipinas, then that would really help, right? Or at the very least discourage more Filipinos from going into Metro Manila and then just staying in their places, developing yung business nila sa lugar nila. That would really help, right? So I understand the argument for this one, itong number 1. However, ang counter-argument dito is one of the benefits actually ng provincial rate is it actually encourages businesses, especially foreign businesses, na mag-invest sa provinces. Bakit? Kasi because of the provincial rate, it actually reduces yung labor costs ng mga business. And believe it or not, labor costs ang isa sa pinakamataas na cost na sinashoulder ng isang business. And kung ilalagay mo siya at the same level as sa Metro Manila, then mawawala yung incentives nung ibang businesses to start their business sa provinces. Kasi bakit pa sila mag-i-invest sa suburban communities or sa ibang provinces outside Metro Manila kung mas mababa naman yung population doon? Of course, mas magbo-boom yung business nila kung sa Metro Manila sila. Now, of course, sisiksik na naman sila sa Metro Manila kapag ganun. That's why it's actually not that great or hindi ganun kasimple na tanggalin mo lang provincial rate and then all of a sudden okay na lahat. Right. So, although ang benefit naman nito sa yung pagtanggal ng provincial rate is of course tataas yung disposable income ng kapwa natin Pilipino. So again, I understand yung argument for this one. I think it's actually fair kasi kung iisipin mo, yung mga taga Metro Manila, they actually have more disposable income to purchase imported goods. Kasi yung imported goods, hindi naman yan nag-a-adjust sa provincial rates natin eh. Kung magkano yung presyo sa ibang bansa, yun na yun. Regardless of kung saan ka man sa Pilipinas o order nung product from other countries. So, being in Metro Manila, you have the advantage of having higher salaries on average compared sa mga nasa provinces. So, in order for it to be fair sa mga nasa ibang lalawigan, sa ibang regions, ibang provinces, mas maganda nga kung tatanggalin yung provincial rate. But again, there are caveats to this. May nuance to, may complications tong pagtanggal ng provincial rate. Okay, so let's move forward. Dagdagan yung public transportation like bus and jeepney. For the most part, it's good. I don't think na it's just as simple as dagdagan yung public transportation. I think there's also the problem ng infrastructure. So, yung mga bus stops, yung mga jeep, yung roads natin. I'll give an example. So, dito sa South, kasi taga-South ako, sa may Muntinlupa, Las Piñas, and Cavite area, iisa lang ang highway na nadadaanan talaga ng public transpo. It's the Alabang-Sapote Road. The problem with that is tatlong city yun, and yet iisang highway lang yun nagko-connect sa kanilang tatlo. Now you could make the argument na, well, pwede kang dumaan sa mga looban, etc. Right, that's true kung may private vehicle ka. The problem is, we're talking about public transportation, di ba? So kahit magdagdag ka ng bus and jeepneys, because of how heavy the traffic is sa Alabang-Sapote Road, still hindi talaga, I wouldn't say na, or I don't think na it would actually help by just adding more bus and jeepneys. I think there's more that needs to be done. Perhaps yung adding ng buses and jeepneys could temporarily or parang short term siguro may i-improve. But then again, ang tanong is, sino mag-handle na to? I-award ba to sa private sector? Luluwagan ba nila yung paano mo i-encourage yung pagdami ng bus and jeepneys? Luluwagan mo ba yung regulations para mas mapadali yung pag-register ng new businesses or ng new players sa public transportation? Yung LTO ba, luluwagan ba nila yung standards nila or bababaan ba nila yung fees nila? I highly doubt that. For sure meron silang incentives not to do that. Sabihin na natin na I have to be very careful with this. Let's just say na merong blockade. It's actually quite difficult para na pumasok sa business ng public transportation or sa what do you call this? Sa franchising or sa licensing ng public transpo. Mahirap siya and magastos. Right. So perhaps kung gustuhin talaga natin tong number 2, kung gusto talaga nating ayusin to, one of the ways is for us to luwagan or pababain yung fees or tanggalin yung red tape pagdating or bawasan yung red tape maybe pagdating sa pag-register ng business sa pag-engage sa public transportation. And this doesn't just apply of course sa South, of course sa Manila, like yung sentro natin, or even sa areas like Laguna, or areas like Cavite, areas like Bulacan, further up north. For sure makakatulong yung additional access to bus and jeepneys, but ang tanong is paano mo nga siya gagawin. I don't believe na dapat government ang mag-handle ng public transpo. I think it's actually better kung private sector ang magko-compete, kasi that would actually encourage different businesses to compete with one another. Pagandahan sila ng services, palinisan sila ng bus, pagandahan sila siguro pwede rin sila mag-compete sa prices if they want to. And ang mag-benefit dyan, of course, would be yung mga pasahero, kasi mas maganda yung masasakyan nilang bus, mas maganda yung masasakyan nilang jeep, mas maganda yung masasakyan nilang public transportation kung private sector ang magko-compete pagdating dyan. The problem with when governments actually handle things is wala silang incentive to improve things unless election. So, ang makikita mong improvements dyan is once every 3 years or once every 6 years tuwing may election lang. And kadalasan overpriced pa. Plus, ang tanong dyan is saan ang gagaling yung pera? Of course, galing din yan sa taong bayan. Galing sa taxes natin. Right. Number 3, ito yung dito ako na-encourage na gawin tong video na to. Kasi yung 100% free healthcare. This is very interesting kasi I think both left-wingers and right-wingers pinupush to, which is weird kasi even yung sabihin na natin economically right-wing or mga capitalists, they would think that this is actually possible. Now, of course, not everyone, like libertarians, wouldn't want this. But anyway, more than that, I'll just create another video for that. But let's just focus on the free healthcare. when you say free healthcare, ang tanong is, paano yung mga doktor? Para sa akin yun yung number one question dyan eh. Paano yung mga medical practitioners natin, mga nurses, mga medtech, mga radtech, mga doctors, etc. Sino magpapasweldo sa kanila kung free yung healthcare? Right? Now, some would say na, well, government subsidized dapat. Well, there you go. Hindi na siya free kasi kung government subsidized siya, then ibig sabihin gumagastos yung gobyerno. Ang tanong, saan kukunin ng gobyerno yung pera? Of course, sa taxes natin. So, kung gagawa ka ng, in quotes, 100% free healthcare, yung most likely ang politicians ang gagawin nila dyan is tataasan pa nila lalo yung taxes natin. Because they would have a justification to do so. Sasabihin nila na, well, kulang sa budget, kulang sa appropriation, hindi natin ma-afford yan. So, again, magdadagdag na naman sila ng bagong form of taxation. And then, of course, kapag may taxation, may corruption, tapos, ang tanong is, anong klaseng free healthcare yan? Baka mamaya free healthcare nga, pero putyo-putyo naman yung services na ipoprovide. Now, ano ang alternative dito? Kasi baka sabihin nyo naman ano ba to? Napaka-negative mo naman, right? Yun yung madalas na nare-receive kong rebuttal sa mga sinasabi ko. So, ano ang alternative solution dito? Well, again is, I believe, I tend to lean more libertarian pagdating sa mga ganitong discussions. Again, libertarian po hindi liberal. Libertarian. Meaning, it should be the private sector that should be handling this. And kung makakagawa ng paraan na mapapaluwag or mapapadali yung kumbaga yung tinatawag na ease of doing business na hindi na, or maybe pwede nating i-eliminate yung taxation pagdating sa healthcare. Perhaps pwede nating tanggalin yung or pwede nating bigyan ng tax incentives yung mga healthcare, mga practitioners natin, plus yung what do you call this, yung mga nag-engage sa business ng clinics, hospitals, ganyan, or even yung mga testing centers. I think it would actually help in reducing yung costs and mas ma-afford nila na mag-provide ng cheaper healthcare. Now, of course, hindi 100% free to. So, some would argue na, well, hindi mo ina-address exactly yung free healthcare. But, again, there's no such thing as free healthcare. Ang nangyayari lang dito is pinipili mo kung paano mo siya babayaran. Babayaran mo ba siya upfront using cash? Babayaran mo ba siya using insurance? Or babayaran mo siya through your taxes? At the end of the day, there is no such thing as free healthcare. Yun yung gusto kong ipunto dito. Anywho, I'm not going to go deeper into it. Of course, there's a lot more discussions. Feel free to leave it in the comment sections. Kung meron kayong counter-arguments, feel free to do so. But, yun lang muna. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so next is air-conditioned public school classrooms with free healthy food during lunch. Again, etong idea ng free. There is no such thing as free. Lagay na nga natin dito.
Oops, masyadong malaki. That's what she said. Oops, wait lang. Ano ba to? Bakit white kasi yung font? There is no such thing as free, whatever. Lagyan na natin dyan just to nail down the point. 30. Pwede ba to? I think this is acceptable.
Ayan. Lagay natin yan dyan. Ayan po. There is no such thing as free, whatever or however. Air-conditioned public classrooms, sure, makakatulong yan. There's actually a study sa psychology na kapag ideal yung temperatures for learning or kung conducive for learning yung temperatures ng classroom, students actually perform a lot better. So pagdating sa classrooms kung air-conditioned, I think ang ideal temperatures is around 23 to 25 if I remember correctly. Pasensya na po, matagal na po akong graduate at hindi ko na po maalala yung inaral namin sa undergrad ng psychology. But there's actually a solid study on that. Kung yung environment ba is komportable ba yung mga estudyante while learning. Imagine mo you're trying to solve math problems, complex math problems, tapos ang first issue mo is tumutulo yung pawis mo sa test paper mo, or inaantok ka kasi you're exhausted from the heat. Sobrang init ng classroom nyo, so inaantok ka sa sobrang init. Now, of course, sasabihin ng iba, well, baka antukin din sila kapag malamig yung classroom, which is also fair. Pero kung magaling yung teacher, mas magiging engaged yung mga estudyante, mas komportable sila. Yung utak nila is makapag-focus in learning and absorbing things rather than, ano ba to, ang init, ang nanlalagkit ako, what have you. Ganyan. So, for sure, air-conditioned classrooms, hindi lang public school, of course, in private schools as well. Another aspect of this is yung healthy food during lunch. Again, I tend to lean more towards libertarianism dito. I want to promote yung personal responsibility. Pagdating sa healthy food during lunch, I think parents ang responsible dito, not the government. I don't believe that the government should be, I don't think that they should be the ones who are handling yung food natin. Hindi dapat sila yung namimili ng pagkain natin kasi more often than not detached sila sa reality natin as average Filipino. So I think the best way for this to be resolved is unang-una is kailangan tumaas yung disposable income ng mga parents. Paano mangyayari yun? Maybe lawagan yung maybe improve yung economic what do you call this? Yung economic, hindi naman status yung environment natin for economics, for business, ease of doing business. Again, papasok tayo dito sa ease of doing business kasi more businesses equals more employment, higher pays, better pays, better working environments. And then, of course, yung mga parents, magkakaroon sila higher disposable income, mas ma-afford nila ipadala yung mga anak nila sa magagandang eskwelahan, or mas ma-afford nila na magbigay or mag-provide ng healthier food sa mga anak nila. So, I think that would be a more long-term solution. Now, of course, gugustuhin ba yan ng government? Kasi yun yung tanong Alam na natin yung solution. Ang tanong is, gugustuhin ba yan ng politician? I would say no. Kasi, bakit? Kasi ang gusto ng politicians is dependent tayo sa kanila. Gusto nila na sila yung magre-resolve ng problema natin para ma-justify yung existence nila. Kasi kung solve na yung problema, para saan pa sila? Ba't pa natin sila iboboto? Bakit pa magkakaroon ng pagsamba sa mga politicians natin kung wala na namang problema ang Pinoy? Right? So, most likely, ang magde-default dyan is ang mga Pinoy is pupunta na lang sila sa entertainment, magre-relax na lang yan, magta-travel na lang yan. For the most part, they wouldn't care much about politics. But of course, politicians wouldn't want that. So of course, hindi gugustuhin ng politicians na isolve yung problema in the first place. Anyway, so number 5 is digitize lahat ng government transactions. I think this is I get the argument. Gets ko na it's actually easier for transparency kasi mas magiging accessible siya. Pwede siyang i-post sa social media. Pwedeng makita ng mga tao kung saan talaga napupunta yung pera. Again, I can still man this argument. I can actually support this argument. However, there's also the issue na kapag digitized lahat ng government transactions and walang paper trail, it's actually a lot easier to manipulate the information, manipulate the data, and mas madali nilang maitatago yung mga kabalbalan nila kung walang paper trail. Kasi very important ang paper trail lalo na during court proceedings. Kami kita nyo kapag may Blue Ribbon Committee, may investigation sa corruption issue or what have you, yung carts, yung kung ganong sobrang daming papeles, sobrang daming evidence, paper evidence ang require ng courts. Sorry. I've been talking straight for 21 minutes, so pasensya na po kung medyo napapaos na. So, ayun nga. So, yan yung problema with digitizing the all government transactions. But then again, to balance yung para ma-balance natin tong point na to, there's also the benefit na kung ina-update in real time yung digitized transactions ng government and full transparency, it would actually be good kasi mababantayan to ng mga Pinoy. But of course, it's not just the digitization of the government transactions, but it also requires the Filipino people to actually pay attention dun sa information na lumalabas kasi May Freedom of Information Act ka nga, kaso yung population mo naman walang pakialam sa politics. Apolitical sila or masyado silang busy sa entertainment. Puro kung ano-ano ang pinapanood. Hindi ko na babanggitin kung ano specifically, pero wala rin kwenta yung freedom of information. Wala din kwenta yung transparency kung hindi attentive yung average Filipino mo sa actual na nangyayari sa government transactions. So of course, ito yung caveat dito, ito yung nuance dito na hindi lang to basta sa side ng government. There's also the side na taking personal responsibility for our country. Right. So anyway, to wrap things up, sabi dito, pero hindi yun ginagawa ng gobyerno natin kasi paano nga naman sila makakupit sa kaban ng bayan, di ba? Yes, I agree for the most part. However, again, lagyan natin ng konting caveat. Itong digitization, they could actually make the argument na in order to digitize everything, kailangan nila na additional funding na naman. So of course, tataasan na naman nila yung taxes, uutang na naman sila sa World Bank, etc. etc. Lalong tataas yung gastusin natin and bayarin nating mga Pinoy. So hindi ito 100% na hindi sila makakakupit kung i-apply ito. Actually, makakakupit sila ng extra, at least in the short term. Ganito din kasi meron tayong DepEd, meron tayong CHED. Kung lang naman na merong mga corrupt doon sa mga sa departments na yun, then of course magagamit nila to para magbulsa. Not saying na meron, pero kung meron, magkakaroon ng ganong issue. Same goes with healthcare, ganyan din. Ito nga, like I've said, kung subsidized ng government, kung government mismo ang sasagot ng additional ng public transportation, ng bus and jeep, or whatever, kahit trains pa, kahit isama mo pa yung trains and mga roro, what have you. Again, pwede nilang gamitin yan para kumupit. Kung may paraan, kung gusto, laging may paraan. Kung ayaw, laging may dahilan. So, magagawa nila ng paraan magnakaw kung gusto nila. And then, itong tanggalin yung provincial rate, maybe ito lang yung thing na siguro hindi sila makakakupit. At least as far as I can tell. Anyway, 24 minutes na akong nagdadaldal dito. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. If you have counter arguments, please, I'd appreciate it if you could keep it civil. Pero I don't mind disagreements if you can point out kung saan ako mali. Kung meron kayong better arguments, kung meron kayong better solutions na hindi ko pa alam or hindi ko pa nakikita, please feel free to do so. Please feel free to comment it down below. And by the way, I post a bunch of random videos. I post gaming videos, politics, psychology, philosophy, history. You can follow me on all social media platforms. I post a bunch of random videos. Kung gusto nyo lang na mas chill, although I think straight English for the most part yung mga iba kong pinapost. So, kung hindi nyo trip yung mga ganun, baka hindi nyo matripan yung channel ko. Pero, I would really appreciate it if you could actually just follow me. Follow nyo na lang, tapos off nyo na lang notifications. I think makakatulong pa rin yan sa akin. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and see you guys on the next video.